Why is it so hard to the international community and its organization to see this clearly?
Through to the European hospital where our team found him, and then transferred through to the European hospital where our team found him. The shelling itself, of course, a traumatic amputation of fibrillation for the rest of their life.
In amongst the tents. So when you're at work, I've certainly not seen any military action or armed men within hospital grounds. I have witnessed, however, strikes from the Israelis in these so-called humanitarian zones where people are living.
On Nakba Day 2022.
System, I did not know of Palestine. I did not know where it is. It was rather something far remote. I did not realize that Israel is in fact built.
The alibi of not knowing what is happening in the ancient land of Palestine. The Western media, our governments, the Zionist lobby, have expended enormous effort to distort the historical significance of the 7th of October, to present it as a massacre of Israelis, as a war crime and nothing but.
Against Israel. The entire world, including public opinion in most Western countries. Public opinion in this country months ago opposed the Biden administration's policy. Public opinion months ago in the United States opposed Israel's war. And public opinion opposed sending weapons, majorities, to.
With massive death and destruction for the people of Gaza. There was a UN report, very exhaustive, on the Great March of Return. It runs to 250 pages, single space. What it is.
Unfortunately, it's for all the wrong reasons, but the last year has been, for I think many of us, so traumatic.
Instagram, TikTok, and so just the...
Iran continues to get hit, and Iran has allies as well. And Russia is an important ally, and
Mohammed Morandi from the University of Tehran joins us now. Thank you very much for being with us, Professor. I just wonder, first of all, what has Iran achieved by this attack on Israel? Very few of the missiles got through. It, in effect, failed. Many people are calling it a humiliation for Iran.
I think that's a lot of wishful thinking on behalf of you and your colleagues at Sky News. It was a massive blow to the Israeli regime. And the history of this conflict doesn't go back to last year. It is 76 years of ethno-supremacism, ethnic cleansing, and this is a racist regime that you support. What the problem is that you cannot recognize that the difference between you and us is that you support racism and racial hierarchy, and we reject it. And the Israeli regime, if they dare strike back at Iran, we will hit them much harder next time. We will beat them into submission.
Well, they will strike back, won't they? No sovereign country can put up with having 180 ballistic missiles.
Instead of the rhetoric, be real, because you're misleading your own people. Iran has countless underground missile sites with hundreds of thousands of missiles across the country. They were made after the U.S. invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan to deal with a potential war with the United States. So this puny regime, it is not a state, it is a colony. It is an racist, ethno-supremacist colony which the people call themselves the chosen people. Unlike you, we do not believe in chosen people. And the Palestinian people on that land who've been displaced and pushed into Gaza and who've been slaughtered regularly over 76 years, we will not stand for that. All people in the whole of Palestine must be equal. The Israeli regime, if they strike Iran, we will hit them much harder next time. Slaughter. Zionism will lose no war. The Israeli regime will. It is time for you and others to end your racism and to end your support for the superior race.
The hand of Allah, the hands of Allah, all are dead, all are dead. Nothing moves, nothing stops, nothing makes, nothing breaks, nothing gives, nothing takes, nothing rises, and nothing falls, nothing harms, and nothing benefits. Allah. Everything. Today, the Muslims have so much fear in their hearts. Fear. Fear of the kuffar, fear of the West, fear of laws, fear of regulations, fear of this and fear of that. But to know that Allah Azza wa Jalla is not in need. Wallahi, my brothers, wallahi, I take an oath by Allah. You have to come to terms. You have to come to believe with certainty that every single human being, whoever lived, whoever's living, and whoever is to come and live on this earth, wallahi, every single human being, every single jinn, every single animal that walks on this earth, every single bird that takes the flight in the sky, every single fish that swims in the oceans of Allah Azza wa Jal, wallahi, every single land, every single country, wallahi, with all their governments, and all their military force, and all their might, and all their science, and all their money, and all their know-how, all, with the exception of none, every country, every tree, every grain of sand, every mountain, every river, every ocean, wallahi, every star, every sun, every moon, every single planet, every single angel, the billions and billions and billions of angels, all of them, with the exception of none, Mikael, Jibraeel, Israfil, all, the first heaven, the second heaven, the third heaven, the fourth heaven, the fifth heaven, the sixth heaven, the seventh heaven, the ocean above it, the eight that carry the flame of Allah, the hearts of Allah, all are dead, all are dead. Nothing moves, nothing stops, nothing makes, nothing breaks, nothing gives, nothing takes, nothing rises, and nothing falls, nothing harms, and nothing benefits, illallah.
My family and my younger brother who's suffering from diabetes. We are facing starvation and have been forced to eat animals' feed. You can assist. You can. Everyone bears the responsibility. I no longer endure the fear and death. Please help us.
I'm passionate. I want to know God, the real God.
Yeah, and yet you describe.
ما تدري وسووا شو حنسوي شو شمر الدولة ولا الرسالة الأمن ولا حتى لو كانوا مثلا سوريا وكانوا بالعراق وكانوا هذول ما يحسبون على دولة معينة ما يحسبون على دولة معينة بالدول هذه لكن أصولهم وين؟ أصولهم من بالعراق وبسوريا أصولهم كلها بالسعودية كلها بنجد إذا لك قرار ولا لك خلا التي تصدر من حكومتنا يعني شبك الدولة تمنعهم الدولة طيب أرخص أنت تحل الدولة يعني تقول لهم أيادي بيضاء في متابعة قضايا القبيلة وحل الكثير من مشاكل قبائلهم خاصة والمجتمع عامة في حدود الأنظمة والتعليمات الرسمية التي تصدر من حكومتنا يعني شبك الدولة تمنعهم الدولة طيب أرخص أنت تحل الدولة يعني تقول الدولة يعني خفيفة الدولة عندها أجهزة وعندها أجهزة.
مشارك المسلمين ضد اليهود في المدينة وخيبر وهو الذي يقود كما يزعم محور المقاومة لمواجهة اليهود بحسب شعاراته وخطاباته التي صدع بها رأس الكرة الأرضية. وإذا كان أجداد الخامنئي استدعوا الحسين ابن بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى كربلاء ووعدوه
اثنتين وأدعياء هذا الزمن ينكزون لنا بين اثنتين بين السلة والدلة وإيهاب من الدلة.
أكذب من أجل مجد الإله وأي إله هذا الذي ينتظر من عباده أو أتباعه أن يكذبوا من أجله هو مش قادر ينصر مجده بالصدق نعوذ بالله من الضلال. ركز
معي. Not just money but technical know-how, political support, whatever you want يعني but you know
about relationships that you establish. Many times relationships don't fall apart between two people. Don't fall apart because of something catastrophic happening.
Sometimes something happens in your life, you recite the Fatiha today and somehow suddenly it just sounds different. It just means differently.
Other than to punish humanity. That's it. The only job of Jahannam was to punish the human being. So Allah Azza wa Jal says that on the day of judgment, when Jahannam sees the human being for the first time, it's been created for Allahu A'lam how many thousands of years, it's been
due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the King, the Master, the Sustainer, the Creator of the heavens and the earth, and we send peace and blessings upon His beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So my brothers and sisters, can I kindly ask inshallah before we start that please no one to be recording, please, wallahi I beg.
Masjid? No. So clearly halal, they were wrestling in the masjid, wrestling, not striking the face, wrestling in the masjid. So he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam walks into the masjid and sees the gathering. You know, I just, because I have a very strange way of thinking. Let me think out loud with you, and Allahu A'lam, I'm not saying this is sharh of the hadith, no, these are just my thoughts. You know, something to me with your deed, let me do as I please, let me run on my, I want to go where I want, I want to sell what I want, I want to snort what I want, I want to sleep with whoever I want. Don't come to me with your religion. If Allah is so great, then why is He so bothered? Leave me alone. Well, my brother, you also, no matter what you do, no matter what you sell, no matter what you take and how much you take of it.
فسيدخلهم في رحمة منه وفضل ويهديهم إليه صراطا مستقيما.
A small population. Half the population is Palestinian, which is subjugated. It's being suppressed and controlled and killed by the regime. And especially since the people in the surrounding countries are very hostile to the regime. Even if the regime is weakened, if people see the regime as being weak, then that will encourage them to rise up and to resist against the regime. So I don't see reason why I can justify, let's say, in the eyes of Netanyahu, escalation, care about human rights. It doesn't care about women's rights. It doesn't care about freedom of speech. We see how people a child waving a Palestinian flag is arrested. This is what they've been doing for centuries. This is how empire has always justified itself. The weapons to slaughter and to kill, and the West is going on and say that these are Hezbollah strongholds, as you pointed out, or these are Hamas strongholds, trying to divide the region through race, through sectarianism. They use Wahhabis in particular alongside Saudi Arabia to create massive divisions, alongside Saudi Arabia to create massive divisions. During the Syrian dirty war, they were particularly effective in using sectarianism. These oil-rich dictatorships were doing it. I think public opinion is putting a lot of pressure on him. One thing that I've noticed in Turkey is that people are not happy with him, and now they recognize what the truth was in Syria and the destructive role that President Erdogan played in Syria. Now they see that he was willing to back then support these groups, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and he still does support Al-Qaeda in Idlib today. And Hezbollah as a force, it has been untouched. True, they've murdered people, assassinated people in Beirut, but Beirut has always, as I said before, been the weakest link for Hezbollah. That's where they are going to do anything about this. They will continue to, the current regimes will continue to close their eyes to reality for as long as they can keep their eyes closed. How too, they took the southern half of the country in 5 days, in 4 days or 5 days. And back then, though, Hezbollah didn't exist. They said that they decapitated Hezbollah. It should be they should have an easy victory over Hezbollah in the south. That's not happening. It's tiring itself out. Is delegitimizing itself further in global public opinion and including in Western public opinion. No one is ever going to invest in this regime again. No one, people across the region will be emboldened because they're seeing how vulnerable the regime is, contrary to the image that it created for itself in the past